Hello folks, the Y Guy here again. Welcome to my home on this very beautiful summer morning. The name of this video is called The Y Guy Agrees with Mark Twain. Now Mark Twain was a pen name, obviously, as most people know that his name was Samuel Clemens. Well, I call myself, my pen name is the Y Guy, as in, there's the commercial folks, as in my book that I wrote titled By the Y Guy. Okay, or written by the Y Guy. It's my pen name. No, my real name isn't Samuel Clemens. I prefer to keep that to myself. Because the message is what I'm trying to convey. I'm not trying to elevate the messenger. I want that message to be focused on. I don't want people to focus on me. I'm not interested in that kind of fame, all right? Well, anyway, the name of this video is called The Y Guy Agrees with Mark Twain. Mark Twain, 75 years old. He was born 1835 to 1910. And he had some advice to youth. And this is a quote. And I too have some advice, not just to youth, but to all of those, should I say, within a portion of Christendom. I have some advice. But here's his advice to youth. The history of our race and each individual's experience are sewn thick with evidence that a truth is not hard to kill and that a lie told well is immortal. Did you catch that? A truth is not hard to kill and that a lie told well is immortal. Wow. Well, the Y Guy, moi, totally agrees with Mark Twain, as in the truth that it never entered his mind, from a God of love, to torture his children with fire. That's in Jeremiah 32:35. I know the context is about the valley of Gehenna, is that how you pronounce that? Anyway, which later on became Gehenna. No, Hinnon, or something like that. Anyway, I realize that's the context, but the point is, it never entered God's mind to torture his children with fire. You know, and all I can think of is, yet there's this immortal lie that's out there within Christendom, that God will torture some of his children, frankly, the vast majority of his children, with fire for an eternity. At least this point in Jeremiah 32, at least this context was a very temporal fire until they screamed and died in agony, and then it was over. But you see, Christendom has such a perverted, it just grosses me out, has such a perverted view of God and his love that they honestly think the opposite of this verse, that God not only will torture his children with fire, but they will be screaming in agony forever, never ending. What kind of perverted person can come up with that kind of crap? Also, there's a truth that we must all die. We are like water spilled on the ground, which cannot be gathered up. But God will not take away a life. He will devise plans so as not to keep an outcast banished forever from his presence. Did you catch that? Not to keep an outcast banished forever from his presence. That's in Samuel 14:14. My advice to Christendom, do you honestly still believe in an eternal separation from God in hell? Now this is to those, I have a very good friend, my buddy Phil, who simply believes that hell just means an eternal separation. He doesn't get into the agonizing, screaming in torment and being burned alive but yet never consumed, and you know, all that kind of garbage. He just believes, well, God will be, you won't be in his presence. And yet, catching this verse? Somebody's lying. Either Samuel lied, or the people who taught my buddy Phil has lied, or my buddy Phil is lying through his teeth. This is going to be a very short video, just a few minutes long. You know, I'm going to, what Mark Twain said, I'm going to read this again. That a truth is not hard to kill, and that a lie told well is immortal. You know, the truths that I just shared with you, just those two in those two verses, they have been killed by traditions and intentional, you notice I'm using the key word intentional, mistranslations, actual insertions of words into Scripture that didn't belong there, and doctrines of men. The truth of God's love has been replaced by the lie of hell. Told well, sure it has, for centuries, and it's now immortal. That lie of hell is immortal. It's in the minds of even non-religious men. Movies are made about it, and even, you know, you catching that, right? It's told well, and it's now immortal, but only in the minds of the ignorant. I would encourage anyone and everyone, if there's even the tiniest little bit of doubt in your mind of its existence, check it out. Okay? Try to prove. It doesn't take much these days. It's so easy. It's so easy to do. To look into history, look into ancient history and ancient languages, and try to prove its existence. Okay? And judge, definitely judge its existence on the character of God. If you believe God's character is love, and then you turn right around and believe love can burn his children, as it says in Samuel, if you honestly believe that, I have to say you don't know what love is. You really don't. If anything, it's something very perverted. So anyway, look me up on Facebook. I have a group called the White Guy Group. It's a private group. You have to answer 3 questions. Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down on this video. If you're going to leave a comment, be willing to back up your comment, be polite about it, and then we can have an honest discussion. And consider subscribing if you haven't already. Also, I have an avatar name of Jonathan Jones on Facebook. I'm kind of taking a sabbatical from that, from Facebook, just because. Thank you for viewing.